Hello, Shalom. Welcome to day 26 of Daily Bread. We'll be in Genesis 33, Judges 8, Psalms 32, 3 and 4, Proverbs 26, and Matthew 23. Genesis chapter 33 on page 35 in the Scriptures 2009 version. And Jacob lifted his eyes and looked up and saw Esau coming, and with him 400 men. And he divided the children among Leah and Rachel and the two female servants. And he put the female servants and their children in front, and Leah and her children behind, and Rachel and Joseph last. And he himself passed over before them, and bowed himself to the ground 7 times until he came near his brother. And when Esau ran to meet him, and embraced him, and fell on his neck, and kissed him, and they wept. And he lifted his eyes, and saw the woman and the children, and said, Who are these with you? And he said, The children with whom Elohim has favored your servant. Then the female servants came near, they and their children bowed themselves, and Leah also came near her children, and they bowed themselves with her children, and they bowed themselves. And Joseph and Rachel came near, and they bowed themselves. Then Esau said, What do you mean by all this company which I met? And he said, To find favor in the eyes of my master. But Esau said, I have enough, my brother. Let what you have remain yours. And Jacob said, No, please, if I have now found favor in your eyes, then receive my present from my hand, because I have seen your face, like seeing the face of Elohim, and you are pleased with me. Please take my blessing that is brought to you, because Elohim has favored me, and because I have all I need. And he urged him, and he took it. And he said, Let us depart and go, and let me go before you. But he said to him, My master knows that the children are weak, and the flocks and the herds which are nursing are with me. If the men should drive them hard, one day all the flocks will die. Please let my master go before his servant, and let me lead only slowly according to the pace of the livestock that go before them, and according to the pace of the children, until I come to my master in Suri. And Esau said, Please, let me leave with you some of the people who are with me. But he said, Why is this? Let me find favor in your eyes, O my master. And Esau returned the day on his way to Suri. And Jacob set out to Sukkot, and built himself a house, and made booths for his livestock. That is why the name of the place is called Sukkot. And Jacob came safely to the city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan. When he came to Padanaram, and he pitched his tent before the city. And he bought the portion of the field which he had pitched his tent from the children of Hamor, Shechem's father, for 100 kizeth. And he set up a slaughter place there, and he called it El Elshi Rizel. End of Genesis 33. Judges 8 on page 262. And all the men of Ephraim said to him, What is it that you have done to us by not calling us when you went to fight with Midian? And they contended with him. And he said to them, What have I done as compared to you? Or the gleanings of Ephraim not better than the grape harvest in Abazir? Elohim has given into your hands the princes of Midian, Orb, and Zeb. And what I was able to do to compare with you. And when he had said that their rage, and when he said that, their rage toward him subsided. And Gideon and the 300 men who were with him came to the Jordan, passing over the Jordan, weary yet pursuing. And he said to the men of Sukkot, "Please give loaves of bread to the people who follow me, for they are weary, and I am pursuing Zeheb and Salal, sovereigns of Midian." But the leaders of Sukkot said, "Are the hands of Zeb and Solomon now in your hand, that we should give bread to your army?" And Gideon said, "Because of this, when Yahweh has given Zeheb and Solomon into my hand, I shall tear your flesh with thorns of the wilderness with briars." And he went up from there to Peniel and spoke to them in the same way. And the men of Peniel answered him as the men of Sukkot had answered him. So he spoke to the men of Peniel, saying, "When I come back in peace, I shall break down this tower." And Zeheb and Salah were at Kedar, and their armies with them, about 15,000 men, who were all left of the army of the people of the east. Now those who had already fallen were 120,000 men who drew the sword. And Gideon went up by the way of those who dwell in tents on the east of Nohara and Yogabath, and he struck the camp while the camp was at ease. And Zebah and Solomon fled, and he pursued them and captured the two sovereigns of Midian. Zebah and Solomon and shuddered the entire army. And Gideon, son of Joash, returned from battle from the ascent of Hurritz, and captured the youth of the men of Sukkot, and questioned him. So the youth wrote down for him the leaders of Sukkot and its elders, 77 men. And he came to the men of Sukkot and said, "See, Zehab and Solomon, about whom you taunt me, saying, Are the hands of Zebulun now in your hand, that we should give bread to your men who are weary?" He took the elders of the city and the thorns of the wilderness and briars, and with them he taught the men of Sukkot a lesson. And he broke down the tower of Peniel and killed the men in the city. And he said to Zebah and Salah, "How were the men whom you killed at Tabor?" So they answered, "They were like you. Each one looked like the son of a sovereign." And he said, "They were my brothers, the sons of my mother, as Yahweh lives. If you had let them live, I would not kill you." And he said to Feder, his firstborn, "Rise, kill them." But the youth would not draw his sword, for he was afraid, because he was still a youth. Then Zebah and Solomon said, "Rise yourself and fall on us, for as a man is, so is his might." So Gideon arose and killed Zebah and Solomon, and took the crescent ornaments which were on their camels' necks. So the men of Israel said to Gideon, "Rule over us, both you and your son, also your son's son, for you have saved us from the hand of Midian." But Gideon said to them, "I do not rule over you, nor does my son rule over you. Yahweh does rule over you." And Gideon said to them, "I have had a request to make of you, that each of you give me the ring from his spoil." For they had rings of gold, because they were Yizamites. And they said, "We shall certainly give them." And they spread out a garment, and each man threw into it the ring from his spoil. And the weight of the gold rings that he requested was 1,700 pieces of gold, besides the crescent ornaments and the pennants and purple robes which were on the sovereigns of Midian, and besides the chains that were around their necks. And Gideon made it into a shoulder garment, and set it up in his city, Ophrah. And all Israel went whoring after it there, and it became a snare to Gideon and to his house. Thus Midian was humbled before the children of Israel, and they lifted their heads no more. And the land had rest for 40 years in the days of Gideon. And Jeroboam son of Joash went and dwelt in his own house. And Gideon had 70 sons, who were his own offspring, for he had many wives. And his concubine, who was in Shechem, also bore him a son, and gave him the name Amalek. And Gideon son of Joash died at the old age, and was buried in the burial site of Joash his father in Ophrah of the Israelites. And it came to be, when Gideon was dead, and the children of Israel again, went whoring after the Baals, and made Baal birthright their mighty one. Thus the children of Israel did not remember Yahweh their Elohim, who had delivered them from the hands of their enemies around them, nor did they show loving commitment to the house of Gideon, according to all the good which he did for Israel. End of Judges. We'll be reading Psalms 34 and 35, page 664. I bless Yahweh at all times. His praise is continually in my mouth. My being makes it boast in Yahweh. Let the humble hear and be glad. O make Yahweh great with me, and let us exalt his name together. I sought Yahweh, and he answered me, and delivered me from all my fears. They looked to him and were lightened, and their faces were not ashamed. This poor one cried out, and Yahweh heard him, and saved him from all of his distresses. The messenger of Yahweh encamps all around those who fear him, and rescues him. O taste and see that Yahweh is good. Blessed is the man that takes refuge in him. Fear Yahweh, you his set-apart ones, for there is no lack to them who fear him. Young lions have lacked and been hungry, but those who seek Yahweh lack not any good matter. Come, you children, listen to me. Let me teach you the fear of Yahweh. Who is the name who desires life? Who loves many days in order to see good? Keep your tongue from evil, and your lips from speaking deceit. Turn away from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it. The eyes of Yahweh are on the righteous, and his ears unto their cry. The face of Yahweh is against evildoers, to cut off their remembrance from the earth. The righteous cried out, and Yahweh heard, and delivered them out of their distresses. Yahweh is near to the broken-hearted, and saves those whose spirit is crushed. Many are the evils of the righteous, but Yahweh delivers them out of all. He is guarding all his bones. Not one of them is broken. Evil does slay the wrong, and those who hate the righteous are guilty. Yahweh redeems the lives of his servants, and none of those taking refuge in him are guilty. Psalms 35. O Yahweh, strive with those who strive with me. Fight against those who fight against me. Take hold of shield and armor, and rise for my help. And draw out spear and lance to meet those who pursue me. Say to my life, I am your deliverance. Let those be ashamed and blush who seek my life. Let those be turned back and abashed who plot evil to me. Let them be as chaff before the wind, with the messenger of Yahweh driving on. Let their way be dark and slippery, with the messenger of Yahweh pursuing them. For without cause they hid their net for me. Without cause they dug a pit for my life. Let ruin come upon him unawares, and let his net that he hid catch himself. Let him fall into it, into ruin. Let but let but let my own being exalt in Yahweh. Let it rejoice in his deliverance. Let all my bones say Yahweh is like you. Yahweh, who is like you, delivering the poor from one stronger than he, and the poor and the needy from him who robs him. Ruthlessness, witness, rise up. They ask me that which I knew not. They reward me evil for good, bereaving my life. But I, when they were sick, I put on a sackcloth. I humbled my being with fasting, and my prayer would return to my own bosom. I walked about as though he were my friend or brother. I bound down mourning as one mourning for a mother. But they rejoiced at my stumbling, and gathered together the smiters gathered against me. And I did not know it. They tore in pieces without ceasing, with unclean ones, mockers at feasts, gnashing at me with their teeth. Yahweh, how long would you look on? Rescue my being from their destructions, my only life from the lions. I give you thanks in the great assembly. I praise you among the mighty people. Let not my lying enemies rejoice over me, or those who hate me without cause wink their eyes. For they do not speak peace, but they devise words of deceit against the peaceable ones of the land. And they open their mouth wide against me. They say, Ha ha, our eyes have seen it. This you have seen, O Yahweh. Do not be silent. O Yahweh, do not be far from me. Stir up yourself and awake to my right ruling, to my cause, my Elohim and my Master. Rule me rightly, O Yahweh, my Elohim, according to your righteousness. And let them not rejoice over me. Let them not say in their hearts, Ha ha, our desire. Let them not say, We have swallowed him up. Let those who are rejoicing at my evil be ashamed and abashed altogether. Let those who are exalting themselves over me be clad in shame and humiliation. Let those who delight in my righteousness shout for joy and be glad. Let those who always say, Let Yahweh be made great, who is desiring the peace of his servant, and my tongue shall speak of your righteousness, your praise all day long. End of Psalms 35. Proverbs 26, page 752. Like snow in summer and rain in harvest, so esteem is not fitting for a fool. As a bird wanders, as a swallow flies about, so a curse without cause does not come. A whip for a horse, a bridle for a donkey, and a rod for a fool's back. Do not answer a fool according to his folly, lest you also become like him. Answer a fool according to his folly, lest he become wise in his own eyes. He who sends a message by the hand of a fool cuts off feet and drinks damage. The legs of the lame hang limp, so is a proverb in the mouth of fools. Like one binding a stone in a sling, so is he who gives esteem to a fool. A thorn goes into the hand of a drunkard, so is a proverb in the mouth of fools. An archer who wounds anyone is he who hires a fool for any passerby. As a dog returns to his own vomit, so a fool repeats his folly. Have you seen a man, wise in his own eyes? There is more expectancy for a fool than for him. The lazy one says, There is a lion in the streets, a fierce lion there's a lion in the way, a fierce lion in the streets. As a door turns on its hinges, so does the lazy one turns in his own bed. The lazy one buries his hand in a dish. It tires him to bring it back to his own mouth. The lazy one buries his hand in his own dish. It tires him out to bring it back to his mouth. The lazy one is wiser in his own eyes than 7 rendering advice. The passerby meddling in strife, not his own, is like one who takes hold of a dog by the ears. Like a madman who throws sparks, arrows, and death, so is a man who deceives his neighbor and says, I was only joking. For lack of wood, the fire goes out, and without slander, strife ceases. As charcoal is to burning coals, and wood to fire, so is a contentious man to kindle strife. Contentious man to kindle strife. The words of a slanderer are as dainty morsels, which go down in inner parts of the heart. Burning lips with an evil heart are like earthenware covered with silver dross. He who hates pretends with his lips, and lays up deceit within him. Though he speaks kindly, do not believe him, for there are 7 abominations in his heart. Hatred is covered by deceit. His evil is disclosed in the assembly. Whoever digs a pit falls into it, and whoever rolls a stone, it turns back on him. A lying tongue hates its bruised ones, and a flattering mouth works ruin. End of Proverbs 26. We're meeting on to Matthew 23, page 946. And Yeshua spoke to the crowds, and then his taught ones, saying, the scribes and the Pharisees sit on the seat of Moshe. Therefore, whatever they say to you, guard and do. But do not do according to their works, for they say and they do not do. For they bind heavy burdens hard to bear, and lay them on men's shoulders, but with their fingers they do not wish to move them. And they do all their works to be seen by men, and make their tillin wide and lengthen the tzitzit of their garments. And they love the best place for feasts, and the best seats in the congregations, and the greetings in the marketplaces, and to be called by men, Rabbi, Rabbi. But you do not call Rabbi. But you do not be. But you do not be called Rabbi, for one is your teacher, the Messiah, and you are all brothers. Do not call anyone on earth your father, for one is your Father, he who is in the heavens. Neither be called leaders, for one is your leader, the Messiah. But the greatest among you shall be your servant. And whoever exalts himself shall be humbled, and whoever humbles himself shall be exalted. But woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you shut up the rain of the heavens before men, for you do not go in, nor do you allow those who are entering to go in. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you eat up widows' houses, and for show make long prayers. Because of this you shall receive greater judgment. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you go Could you go about the land and the sea to win one convert? And when he is won, you make him a son of Gihon, twofold, more than yourselves. Woe to you, blind guides, who say, whoever swears by the dwelling place, it does not matter, but whoever swears by the gold of the dwelling place is bound by oath. Fools and blind, for which is greater, the gold or the dwelling place that sets the gold apart? And whoever swears by the slaughter place, it does not matter, but whoever swears by the gift that is on it is bound by oath. Fools and blind, for which is greater, the gift or the slaughter place that sets the gift apart? He then who swears by the slaughter place swears by it, and by all that is upon it. And he who swears by the dwelling place swears by it, and by him who is indwelling in it. And he who swears by the heaven swears by the throne of Elohim, and by him who is sitting on it. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you tithe the mint, and the cunning, and have neglected the weightier matters of the Torah, the right ruling, and the compassion, and the belief. These need to have been done without neglecting the others. Blind guides straining out of a gnat and swallowing a camel. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you clean the outside of a cup and dish, but the inside they are filled with plunder and unrighteousness. Blind Pharisees, first clean the inside of the cup and dish, so that the outside of them is clean too. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you are like whitewashed tombs, which outwardly indeed look well, but inside are filled with dead men's bones and are uncleansed. So you too outwardly indeed appear righteous to men, but inside you are filled with hypocrisy and lawlessness. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you built the tombs of the prophets and decorate the monuments of the righteous, and say, if we had lived in the days of our fathers, we would not have taken part with them in the blood of the prophets. Thus you bear witness against yourselves that you are the sons of those who did murder the prophets, and you fill up the measure of your fathers. Serpents, brood of adders, how would you escape the judgment of Gihon? Because of this I said, send you prophets and wise men and scholars of Scripture. Some of them you shall kill and impale, and some of them you shall flog in your congregations and persecute from city to city, so that you should come to all the righteous blood on the earth, from the blood of righteous Hebel to the blood of Zechariah and the son of Barak, whom you murdered between the dwelling place and the slaughter place. Truly I say to you, all this shall come upon this generation. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, killing the prophets and stoning those who are sent to her. How often I wished to gather your children together, the way a hen gathered her chickens under her wings, but you would not. See, your house is left to you laid waste. Jeremiah 22:5. For I say to you, from now on you shall by no means see me, until you say, blessed is he who is coming in the name of Yahweh. Psalms 118:26. Shalom. Make it a great day. Read your Bible. talk to the Father.